Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop out. We are living in interesting times. We're living in interesting times in the Doctor Who one. I mean, yeah, the greater, disintegration of the Western world notwithstanding. We're living in very interesting times in the Doctor Who world where the Jodie Whittaker era has ended. And it's super ended, right? There is no looking back in nostalgia. It has been scrubbed from reality. We got that new logo, the new old diamond logo, really leaning back into traditionalism, which I'm really, really excited about. And, Shooters, they put out a video with him talking about Doctor Who, and he's just so charming, right? He's just so charming. He's just so sweet. He's just so nice. I can't wait, right? It's so weird. I'm genuinely excited for Doctor Who. I know a lot of you out there saying, listen, if they don't retcon the Timeless Child, forget it. They've retconned the Timeless Child. It's happened, right? By them not acknowledging it at all. During the centenary special, Power of the Doctor, and it had nothing to do with the Power of the Doctor. By not mentioning it at all, or Thasman, it's essentially saying, how do I say everything I did was wrong without actually saying everything I did was wrong? And I think, for those at the BBC, they think, well, we've done enough. What's wrong with you now? You got your diamond logo, you got Russell T Davies, and I honestly think it's going to be very good, right? I think most people think it's going to be very good because we're seeing some weird reactions, like some really, really genuinely odd reactions from the media. Why are we seeing odd reactions from the media? Because they've been lying their asses off to us, and they know they've been lying their ass. I mean, look, it's the media. How do you know the media's lying? Their lips are bloody moving. And that's even when you can't see the faces. They've been lying their ass off. They've been saying, look, Jodie Whittaker's era, it's been stunning, it's been brave, it's been fantastic. And what, you don't like it? What, you don't like women? Are you a bigot? Do you hate gays? I hate you! I mean, that's really what the last 5 years been like. Last 5 years of screaming by, I would say a weird, disproportionately high number of mentally ill people were drawn to the Jodie Whittaker era. The time mentally ill people who thought that heroism was saying, I feel a bit socially awkward. Look, I'm not saying everybody like the Jodie Whittaker era was mentally ill. That obviously, there's a disproportionately high number of them, especially on Twitter, especially with sexual identities that are non-conformist and are have a smaller demographic, which is a completely normal Twitter and YouTube. It's completely normal for women to have penises. Okay? I'm not arguing with you. Completely sorting normal. Men can have babies. Yes, okay. Fine. Yeah, we all super believe that. And just like saying Jodie Whittaker was the bestest ever, we all sort of don't believe that, because you don't believe it if you've seen it. If you've seen any of her era, she wasn't the best of ever. She was really, genuinely, horribly miscast in the role. Again, the special Power of the Doctor, look, it wasn't good in terms of plot, right? The plot was nonsensical garbage, right? But whenever she was on screen, which was a lot, the set pieces were all super fun, right? I liked Session to One's Master. I liked his plan. I liked the whole rah-rah Rasputin thing. I liked a lot of it. I genuinely did. Just when Jodie Whittaker was on, it wasn't as she was horribly miscast. But anyway, as I said, the media have a lot of egg over their face right now. And so, people react weirdly with egg over their face. I found, universally, they just pretend they don't have any egg on them. They did it. No! Oh, no. I was right all along. So, it's kind of hard to say you were right all along when, so obviously you're wrong. So, obviously BBC and Rusty Davis are just scrubbing the hated era Jodie Whittaker away. And again, if you're a fan of it, God bless you. I'm happy for you. I'm glad you liked it. I didn't, but I'm really, really glad you liked it. But it was factually disastrous for Doctor Who as a franchise, right? Absolutely disastrous in terms of, people just didn't like anyone. Now it's been regenerated in more ways than one. Disney Plus, Shooting Cartwell, Rusty Davis, David Tennant. And I thought when in the regeneration scene, the image of David Tennant looked a lot sharper right? It looked a lot better than the footage beforehand. Turns out, yes, the cameras that they use at Bad Wolf from Sony, like super high def cameras, were so super high def. The image, the bit of Jodie morphing, like no, she does that regenerating, couldn't be used because it was too low def for the cat. They had to reshoot it. It's which I think they probably did from the minute they changed it. They pulled out, right? If you didn't see it, they pulled out, and Jodie Whittaker's TARDIS is on the little arch thing, and in the on the coast where they filmed Broadchurch, where Chris Chibnall lives, where Nick Briggs lives. That's got to be so uncomfortable. I mean, like, what do you do if you're Nick Briggs? Honestly, what do you do if you're Nick Briggs? Because he knows it was garbage, I'm sure. I mean, he's got eyes in his head, he can write. None of those scripts would have passed muster at Big Finish. They were like, well, Big Finish did have some terrible scripts for, during the Jodie years as well. But like, and he knows from the inside how much damage has been done to Doctor Who, done to the franchise. Like, and they're friends, right? And he's his employer. It's gotta be uncomfortable, right? I don't know, but no, it's gotta be a very uncomfortable for the public face of the failure, which is the media who've been banging the drum saying, "Oh, Jodie Whittaker! Oh, everybody's got. Oh, she's so good. Oh, she's so good. Oh, look, she's got 11 million views the first week. Look, she's proved it." See, this is what they always do. They always claim victory way too early, right? Ah, victory! No, wait till the finish, baby. And the finish was somewhat dismal in terms of ratings, even though I think on a quality level, it's the best thing they've done. I mean, one of the best things they've done. I think probably the best thing they've done. Which, again, script was nonsensical garbage, right? But they little best thing they've done. And I do like how they just forgot about everything about their era, because I think that's probably an order from the BBC, right? The BBC were just like, this is not gonna fly, right? I do think there was some, I don't know what really happened. Maybe we'll find out in the future, but I do think around the whole Future of the Jadoon time of filming, there was that rumor that Chris Chibnall walked off. The rumor was that BBC said, "No, we can't allow you to do this. You're going to damage the franchise." And Chris Chibnall walked off production saying, "Well, find somebody else to do it." And Pete Mateague took over for like a week or two before they came back with cap in hand to Chris Chibnall and said, "Oh, bro, please burn Doctor Who together." "Well, very well. I'll burn it to the ground." And actually, I have to tell you, I back Chris Chibnall with that, even though I think what he did was very, very destructive, just on a professional level. If you're hired to do a job, right, if you're a creative, hired to do a job, then you pay him for the job, right? But that's basically the bottom line. If you hire the wrong creative, you hire the wrong creative, but that's on you at that point, right? And I think if that rumor was true, which I doubt. I think some version of it was true. I think some germ of it was true. But if that rumor was in any way true, I think that was not good for Chris, right? I don't think that was a good move for the BBC. Anyway, but people with the most egg on their face are the media, who have lied and freaking lied and told you it was the best ever. And now it's being scrubbed from reality. They're like, well, we should just get rid of Doctor Who altogether. Because they don't want to admit they're wrong, right? Because they know how popular Russell Lee Davies here is going to be. That's the bottom line. You can feel it in the air, right? The minute David Tennant walked on screen or appeared on screen, people were interested in Doctor Who again. People were talking about it at work. People were talking about it around the water. Oh, look, they got Diamond Logo. Oh, who's this shooting guy? Oh, look, David Tennant's back. People are talking. Normies are talking about it again. The Disney Plus deal. I've had a bunch of my neighbours go, oh, look, that show you like, Doctor Who's going to be on Disney Plus. Normies are talking about Doctor Who again for the first time in 5 years. Right, not people who control the media. Right, not granola eating, Guardian reading mothers who tie their children to chairs to force them to watch Doctor Who. No, people are actually talking about it and are excited about it again because you can feel the bloody excitement, right? You can feel the genuine, palpable, real excitement, which I can anyway. Look, I am a sad, crazy Doctor Who fan. What do you want out of me? But the media can feel the excitement, so they're like, just kill it, rather than make it show how it's vastly superior, right? But it's going to be to the Jodie Whittaker's. Fine. So we're going to be reading an article from the Telegraph. That was my parents' paper of choice back in the 70s. God rest their souls. I think I'll probably be reading the Telegraph if I lived in England. If you want to gauge what a human being I am. I mean, I kind of like the Independent when it started when I was a callow youth, because I like the idea of there being a politically independent paper. Turns out it was a bit of a fib, but Financial Times is also not bad. If you want the news, they're not financial news. They just tell you what's going on. But I like the conspiracy. I like the middle class conspiracy theories of the Daily Telegraph. That's me. If you're not from England, I've just described the Telegraph reader. The middle class conspiracy theories of the Daily Telegraph. I enjoy it. So we got a delicious article of to read from. I haven't read it yet, so I think there's going to be a lot we can take the piss out of. Before we get into it, like, share, subscribe, comment, all those things are, oh, you guessed it, baby, you guessed it. It is fan-dammy double dozy, much like Doctor Who's going to be. It's fan-dammy double dozy. And I like his somewhat Scottish accent as well. I like his, Nigerian strokes or Rwandan Scottish accent, right? I'm like, oh, that's kind of fun. You know, that for me kind of works. There's a real intense Britishness about a Scottish accent, which is strange. Also with an Irish accent, right? When Terry Wogan used to be on the radio, it was his command of English, right, and his use of it, which you can only really get, I think, with an Irish accent, like this, like tuneful, lyrical response. And I feel like the Rwandan Scottish kind of works in the same vein. But look, I'm very optimistic. That's just me for you. I'm generally speaking kind of an optimistic guy. I think that's why I so much hated the Jodie Whittaker, because it crushed my optimism. Hopefully I'm not being hopelessly naive, but I am. Here's the thing, I am hopelessly naive, but that's just the world I live in, mate. I think it's a better way to look at it. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, comment, all those things are fantastic, baby, fantastic. Thank you very much. Sign up my Substack. It's in the email newsletter. You get, it's my email newsletter in the video notes. The video notes are here, which is my email newsletter. Let me just try and work out what I'm trying to say. Like, share, subscribe, comment, sign up my Substack. If I'm ever banned from YouTube, and I thought I would be by now, coming up to the midterms in America, I get the feeling that they just kind of given up, right? They're like, oh, okay, we're just going to lose. Like, the Democrats are like, yeah, we're together. I guess that's it. And the fight seems to be out of them. Which also seems to be the same for the toxic Jodie fans as well. Before they were like this massive, annoying force constantly monitoring your communications like the East German Stasi, right, for any non-conformist thought. Now they're a bunch of weirdos who are mad at David Tennant. So I'm like, okay, you guys are strange. And the further we get away from Jodie into this new era, I think we're just going to be more unified as a group, because I just think most of us are going to like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. If you do like it, you do. That's where I think we're going, right? That's where I think we're going to, solid entertainment, which I just hope so. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, comment, Substack. I don't know how I got the whole thing about talking about the Doctor Who again, because I'm excited about Doctor Who. Sign up my Substack. Yesterday I put in a bunch of stuff from. I always put in extras, not always, often put in extras into my Substack, my email newsletters. So I put in stuff from 93 or 94, when Doctor Who was cancelled. Maybe it was the earlier 90s. I just like reading articles from that era, right? And I basically every issue on digital. If it's something that's out of print, like an old article, or I like reading the Gallifreyan Guardian. So I normally put it in. So sign up with that. It's free. If you want to sign up my paid one, this month, which I hopefully be today, you're going to get this graphic novel, right? This graphic novel, The Imperium, a love letter to Teddy fans of the 1960s. I wrote it, Dominic Ratchet did the artwork. You get the full script, you get all the sketches, you get awesome backup strip called the Ice Warriors, like these one-piece strips I did with Stefano Cardoselli. And again, $5, mate. $5 is basically a way for you to throw me a few digital coppers, to help me get through the winter. Although I have to tell you, in Israel, the economy is pretty good. I hate to gloat, but we're doing okay here. Our basic philosophy has been, we don't trust the rest of the world to treat us like human beings. We basically just got to support ourselves. And that's why we've got like these silos of grade and stuff. I mean, I remember when COVID hit, everyone's like scrambling for respirators. Mossad shows up with a couple of trucks of respirators. Like, where'd you get those from? There's nothing here. That's when, but you talk to the real Mossad when they're like that. My son was when he was in the army. There was this like mysterious hangar next to a base. It's like, what's in the hangars? And there's no hangar there. That's how talk to a real Mossad. Which happens a lot. Okay, it's a small country. All right, like, share, subscribe, comment, Substack. Let's look at this article and rip the living piss out of it. Is it time for Doctor Who for BBC to bin Doctor Who? Because we don't want to be proved that we were lying and wrong. No, it's not. It's time for the BBC to be able to get some use out of bloody Doctor Who again. Let me move this up a bit. There you go. Nostalgia wants to sustain their love for the Time Lord, and hardcore fans have been alienated, but the show will always adept at regeneration. There's not just hardcore fans. Human beings have been regenerated. The nostalgia was put in by Chris Chibnall as an act of desperation. I mean, he just didn't know what to do. I mean, that's basically the bottom line. He did not know what to do, bless him. Which it worked. I mean, I like the scenes with Janet Fielding and Peter Davison. I think Sophie Aldred was great. Yeah, it was pure desperation, right? It was pure unrelenting desperation. But it doesn't matter about the fans. It matters about the normie, right? The normie is what matters, right? So let's see. And there's so much convention about David Tennant coming back. On Sunday night's Doctor Who finale, David Tennant's Time Lord made a stunned arrival. Maybe stunning? He did look very stunned to me. A stunned arrival in front of the TARDIS. But his surprise was nothing compared with the fans, who couldn't work out whether his appearance was a brilliant coup or an act of desperation. Both! Actually, act of desperation? No, it's a brilliant coup. It's not an act of desperation. Tegan was an act of desperation. Unit was an act of desperation. Ace was an act of desperation. This was savvy, clever marketing, because Russell T Davies needs to introduce a rebrand Doctor Who, right? So the first thing he did in 2005 was episode 2, the end of the world, was to a very effects heavy episode, just to get rid of the conception that Doctor Who was a cheap piece of tat, right? So they did this very effects heavy, which looked beautiful. I mean, still today, those effects from 17 years ago, beautiful. When they got Rose and the Doctor, Chris Eccleston, watching the bits of earth float out the window at the end. Just absolutely beautiful. I mean, toxic. There was so much I love about that episode. He needs. That's one of the first things he needed to do. He needed to establish Doctor Who as not having wobbly sets, even though it never really did. But he needed to establish it as having good production value. So now he needs to do the same thing. He needs to establish Doctor Who as being a fun, exciting thing that everybody loves, right? The easiest way to do that, David bloody Tennant. So apparently that all came out of the watch-alongs. But I think it's a great idea. David Tennant in for 3 episodes to revive the brand before handing over to Shooty. And I do like how they they put out a video with Shooty Gatwa yesterday. But I have a separate video I'm going to put out on that also today. I do like how they put out a video, but establishing him as the Doctor, and that the David Tennant's kind of like an interim Doctor, officially the 14th Doctor, according to Russell T Davies. Okay, Tudors the 15th. Okay, whatever. I just want to enjoy it. Look, I think I found a way of writing out Jodie in my headcanon, which is, and I don't think they're going to refer back to her at all. I don't think we're going to see group shots of the Doctor again. There's just too many of them now, right? It looks silly Especially you've got David Tennant twice, right? It just looks a bit silly now. So I don't think we're seeing any of those, like, all the faces of the Doctor. Well, it was okay when you had 7, but now it's like 57. It's like ridiculous. You can't fit them all into the thing. So I don't think we're seeing that. And so I don't think we're seeing Jodie again. I mean, we might see her in about 10, 15 years when, 20-year-olds or 15-year-olds of the day are starting to write Doctor Who, right? And they want to revive the era. But I don't think we're seeing it for 20 years, right? I really don't. Nah, hey. Goodbye. And I'm really happy that she's gone. I really hated her time as Doctor Who. But yeah, it was a brilliant coup. And an act of desperation because they were in a desperate situation. Bringing David Tennant for 3 specials next year to bridge the gap between Jodie Whittaker and Ncuti Gatwa is an audacious move by returning showrunner Rusty Davies. Yes, and I like that. I like the idea we're getting audacious moves, right? Yes, I agree with you. The man who dragged Doctor Who from the dustbin of television in 2005 and then lobbied the BBC after he lobbied the BBC for over a decade. That's not really true. He didn't know. He didn't even want to go in for the initial meeting. He's like, look, I'm a professional writer. It's my career. I don't want to do something on BBC 3 at 11 at night or a webcast or whatever. I wanted it's got to be a proper TV production. And boy, Jane Trower wasn't playing, right? Jane Trower was not playing. David has a difficult task in his hands. So, whoa! You notice, haven't you? The previous Doctor showrunner team of Whittaker and Chibnall saw ratings decline. Why did they see it decline, darling? Why did they decline? Oh, Netflix. Yeah, even that bullshit doesn't hold up anymore. Netflix, Disney Plus, Netflix, I don't know. It didn't decline. They're better. They're stronger. We decline. They're holding the chart upside down. It declined. Back in 2018, there was at least 7 million viewers, but by 2022, there was between 4 and 5. Between 3 and 4, darling. In 2022, between 3 and 4. Let's be honest. The decline was in 2018. You could bank on. Well, you started off at 11, right? Yeah, started off at 11 million. So it went to 11 million. The lowest, I think it was 2.2 overnight. Apples to apples, I think came out as 3.4, I think, by the time. Yeah, so it went from 11 to 3.4. That's not the mark of success now, is it? And the hardcore fan base were left thoroughly alienated. Well, yeah. That is true. I mean, you had a group who called themselves a hardcore fan base, but they were a very tiny group. Again, they're mainly autistic people who didn't know if they're boys or girls, right? Mainly with purple hair. What is it about having purple or blue or pink hair that you don't know if your penis is a vagina or not? Like, oh, what's that doing there? I'm a boy or girl. I don't know. My hair's pink, so I don't know what I'm doing now. Whovians who are frankly my people are aficionados who grew up hiding behind the sofa. That's me from the Daleks. I was so excited for Power of the Doctor because I just got this sixth sense that, I mean, obviously I knew it was going to be over, but I had the sixth sense we're going to be in this now. Like, it's going to be scrubbed from reality and we're going to be an exciting new future, right? So I was excited. Last time I was excited like that was Remembrance of the Daleks. I was excited for that all freaking day. I like, oh, it's going to be great. And it was, right? And it's so delivered. What can you do? Like all groups of noted fan of my age and background, mainly furious at the unsettling tinkering with a nerdy passion. Well, I'm happy for that. Listen, I like pushing the envelope into new, interesting ways. I thought, that people were mad as hell at Deadly Assassin for reinventing the Time Lords. I think it's a great reinvention, right? I generally I like the War Doctor. I like interesting things, but the universal rule is this: is it shit or is it good? Right? Is it shit or is it good? If it's shit, it's shit. But and if you make all these changes based on this weird ideology, right? This very, very strange ideology you have that women are an oppressed subclass in the Western world in 2022. No, they're not. Again, in 1972, there were far less opportunities for women. I agree with you, right? And now, yeah, we have beyond equality of opportunity. Weirdly enough, though, people are less happy. Right? This is one of the least sane and happy times that we've had in the Western world. So maybe it's not working out so great. I don't know. It's difficult. It is a difficult fandom. It is a difficult fandom, and Chibnall did not respect this process. Whoa, the great throwing of Chibnall on the bus. That's what this is, I guess. He played around Doctor Who as if it was another television program. Okay, so my initial thoughts of this article was we got to go get rid of it because we can't admit it was bad. Now they're saying it was awful, and they're saying that he killed Doctor Who. I don't know. Is this the blame Chibnall hour? Let's find out. As another tweaking long-standing plot lines, ramming the TARDIS into with too many assistants, then finding nothing for them to do, and deploying such Byzantine plots that anybody watching the finale without a pause button probably had no idea what's going on. Yeah, I had to go over it twice before I got the, and even then there are plot points that were just so hard to follow. Like why was the Cybermen stealing a little black girl? And why'd she turn into a giant ball of light fur? And why did Vinda show up? Now there are answers to this, but boy, they were too busy running around to lay them out clearly. It was just they wanted the set pieces, right? They wanted the set pieces. There will always be extreme fans who usually haven't watched a particular show or film in years who can't handle a female Ghostbusters or a Black Little Mermaid. Now we get to the point of this, right? Now we get to the point. No. Those people don't exist. I mean, they do, but there's very, very few. Nobody hated the female Ghostbusters, right? Because they're female Ghostbusters. People hated the extreme arrogance that behind the female Ghostbusters, saying, "It's our time. We're women. Hear me roar. We're just as good as men." Right? Whatever you want, darling. Sure. And then you put something out that was crap and unwatchable, right? The Black Little Mermaid. Who's the Black Little Mermaid for? Not for black people. Black people don't like being condescended to. So here's a little trick that liberals don't understand. Like liberal progressives do not get this at all. Black people, as well as being black, are also people. Right? They don't understand that. Right? They just go, "Oh, they're black. Oh, they're black people. Oh, that makes me feel funny inside. I don't understand. I feel guilty and happy. Oh, yeah. No, black people are people. They don't like to be infantilized. Right? They don't like to be condescended to. The Black Little Mermaid is not for black people because none of them are interested in watching. Again, blanket statement. Yeah, it's not particularly appealing to that demographic. Who likes it? Who's cavelling about it? Who's going, oh, it's so good, it's so stunning, it's so brave. Mainly white people, white rich people who miss the feeling of feeling good about themselves that Barack Obama got elected, and they thought, "Oh, we beat racism," which you had, but then you found you really needed racism to win elections. So, we beat racism. Oh, we feel so elevated. That's what the Black Little Mermaid is for. Now, I think being black is something that certainly got Shooty into the door at the audition, right? I think they absolutely, because, who was it? The casting director, Andy Pryor. They're all woke as hell, those people, right? They're all into this weird progressive agenda. But I think they're basically waking up to reality as well. That they see just how much it's failed, right? How much it's failed. And you can be kind to people without advocating for children cutting their testicles off, right? Because as a gender affirming care, right? You can do both, right? You can be kind without being on board for that. But again, the Black Little Mermaid is for white people, predominantly white, but people live in Martha's Vineyard. Hardcore Doctor Who fans are not like that. Okay, that's true. We were totally open to Jodie Whittaker. Gal's incarnation of Dr. Bull, according to Star, BK. No, he fucking won't. He absolutely will not. He has not said that at all. That's you projecting your diseased agenda on it to say that we weren't wrong. You were wrong. He's not going. I mean, I don't think he's going to be gay, right? I think he's played by a gay person. I don't even know he's gay. I mean, honestly, I don't even know my parents are straight. I never saw them having sex. I mean, I don't really want to think about that, but I don't know who's gay or straight, and that's how it should be. Like, I didn't know Simon Cowell was gay. I can't believe I didn't know Simon Cowell was gay. But I didn't know Simon Cowell was gay. I also thought he was straight because he was on that sitcom in the 80s, Chance in a Million, where he played a straight person. Probably his wife in it was also gay, right? I don't know. I haven't even looked it up. But probably. I don't know. I had no idea he's gay. Why would I? Like, why would I? I've never sucked his dick. He's never asked to suck mine. Right? It's none of my fucking business. Honestly, what happened to that? What happened to there being privacy in the world? It's none of my business. No, he's probably a gay man playing Doctor Who. Start being gay while his companion is transgender. No, again, this is you desperate to pretend your diseased worldview is in any way popular. It's not. You know, how do we know that? Well, how did that movie Bros do? Not very well, right? And Hoovers will possibly embrace this. No, they won't. The weird group of Hoovers that live on Twitter. No, let's be clear. There is a disproportionately high LGBTQ plus population in the Doctor Who fandom. Why? Because Doctor Who appeals to marginalised people, and you don't need to be black to be marginalised. You don't need to be gay to be marginalised. Plenty white men are marginalised, right? Doctor Who has always appealed to smarter children, cleverer children, right? Which makes you marginalised. If you're too clever for school, which most of us were, right? Most of us Doctor Who fans were too clever for bloody school, and we were bored. Right, if you're too clever for school, you tend to gravitate to Doctor Who because you see that's a hero that reflects you, right? And it doesn't matter what skin color you are. You know, Doctor Who's never been a fat Jewish person before. I still related to him, and not because of his bloody skin color. I'm probably going to relate to Shooting Gatwa, right? Because you've got to play the Doctor, unlike Jodie Whittaker. You've got to play her as being a very, very clever person, right? And who kind of revels in not fitting in because they're clever, right? You know, has created their own world. Honestly. Yes, but Doctor has always appealed to marginalised people, and gay people are marginalised because there's less of them, right? I mean, it's just the way it is. I was watching the first episode at a fan convention in Kessel, Germany, and no one has any problem with Shooting Up was Doctor being gay. That's not true. I have a big problem with that. You know, the Doctor shouldn't be sucking a dick. Neither should Superman. Neither should James Bond. Right? I don't think that's intrinsic to the character. I don't think you need dick suckage to go, oh yeah, that's better than a jelly baby. I mean, no. Of the Doctor Who Appreciating Society. I'm not sure about the moustache. I like the moustache. That's my favourite bit about it. I like the tash, mate. But that's maybe Russell's joke. The fandom has complete faith in Russell. Yes! You see, okay, that's true, right? I think most of the fandom do. And the fact that me, hated Jodie Whittaker era, do not want this to be a gay Doctor. Happy for a gay man to play the Doctor. Do not want this to be a gay Doctor. And this bloke, right, that we're agreeing, shows you the power of Russell D. Davies. The power of Russell D. Davies. Incidentally, one of the accusations leveled at the Whittaker Chibnall is that he'd gone woke. What it had! Fucking idiot! What does woke mean? It's the uncomfortable platforming of agendas in a existent successful franchise. Right, that is a definition of woke. Right, another sign the science gone woke is the quality goes on a nosedive. Yes, it was super woke. Now, Doctor Who has always dealt with marginalized issues. Happiness Patrol. You know, it's not like Remembrance of the Daleks, I mentioned earlier, had a subtle anti-fascist message, right? It wasn't like they were being coy about that in any way, was it? The show's first ever monsters, Terry and were based on Nazis. Okay, Nazis were socialists, you ignorant cunt. right? Nazis are closer to the Biden administration than anything else that we've ever seen, right? Yeah, Nazis were socialists. You ignorant moron cunt. Oh, and I say that with love. And hell-bent on exterminating anyone different to them. Oh, you mean like Jodie Whittaker fans? Yeah, okay, fine. It was a 900-year-old man with two vaguely liberal school teachers in Ann Barbara to vanquish. It was up to 900-year-old man and two vaguely liberal school teachers in Ann Barbara and Susan to vanquish them. Okay, fine. Vaguely liberal? Not in the slightest! I never thought of Ian and Barra being vaguely liberal, right? I mean, don't think they were particularly racist, but liberal. Liberal today means again that you're on board. So, by the way, another tenet of woke is the ideology that it always promotes is a combination of things that everybody agrees with, that black people are people too, that women are people too, and things that few people agree with, that men can have babies and women have penises, right? Which, of course, that's true, YouTube. I don't care what the science of the last several thousand years have said. I don't care. That's 100% true. Women can have penises and men can have babies. Okay? Okay? We're cool? Fine. I forgot what I was up to. Of course, it's a difficult balancing act, right? Vaguely liberal teachers. It's a difficult balancing act for Davis. He needs to move the show on and exploit a format which is perfectly capable of moving with the times. Well, that's one of the strengths of Doctor Who, right? I really can't remember what the point I was just making. I bet it will come back to me just after I finish filming this video. What's it doing? Balance out. He needs to move the show on and exploit the format. Yeah, but I think that's what he's doing, right? Doctor Who, for me, I think always works when it's young, right? When it's got to be. There's got to be a youngness to it, like a cutting edgeness to it. It's like I think Hinchcliffe Holmes were on that cutting edge. I think Andrew Cartmel will have that young vibe going, right? What's his name? Derek Sherwin's reinvention, very, very, very contemporary. Jodie Whittaker, very, very contemporary. Just a contemporary at that time was unwashable woke garbage, right? Oh yeah, so I was saying it's woke, right? It's a combination of things that people agree with, don't agree. That way, if you say, oh, this is woke, they go, oh, you don't like black people? Yeah, no, we're fine with black people, you idiot. We just, it's the bits that the other bits, which of course are true, that we're not on board for, right? It is a very difficult balancing act for Davis, right? He needs to move the show, blah blah blah, while not alienating existing fan base. Well, he is very mindful of that. That is true, right? He doesn't want to lose the woke crazes. Russell, mate, they're already going. They hate David Tennant for stealing Jodie's thunder, right? But I think I think they're a fringe. I think they're going, and I think the vast majority are going to stay. I think the least hateful ones are going to stay. He has shown he's capable of doing it both 2005 and more recent years with the 2021 AIDS era drama It's a Sin and the futuristic Years and Years. 29 proved, well, that Years and Years was good entertainment, but the point it was making was Bruce arrived from exceptional emotional power. I agree, right? I agree. His hallmark is intelligent populism, all too rare these days. I agree. Right, I agree. Which is why him being woke as hell is I think a conflict for him, right? Because he is popular. Woke isn't popular. That it has to force itself into every strata of entertainment because it's not popular. While Rusty Davis is a popularist because he loves human beings. And you see that through his work, right? You see he loves the bond and interaction between people, the connection between people, and he understands it on a very, very deep level. Plus, he likes Doctor Who. What Rusty Davis gets as a writer, that Chibnall and his predecessor, Stephen Moffat, both failed. Don't diss them off, baby. I like me. To probably understand. See, again, linking Chibnall with Moffat is ridiculous. I think the reason Moffat's years waned was because he was being forced into the woke agenda by people like Piers Wenger, right? And I think that's why Bill Potts going, suddenly we had a Doctor Who companion who had to talk about being gay constantly. Oh, I like a bit of vagina meat. Well, that's great there, Bill. Okay. And even with the skill of Stephen Moffat, it was a little bit noticeable. But I like that season in general. is that Phil probably to understand is that Doctor Who has to appeal to a wide demographic. Excuse me, Moffat did understand that. He said, "Look, it can't just be the show for the lefties, right? No, it's a show for everybody." It's often referred to as a children's program, but that slightly undermines its very broad appeal. It has a long had a committed LGBTQ plus following. Forget about your LGBTQ plus following. It's a invisible dot on an invisible dot. You need to get the normie, which is excited again. When the time in 2007's London's Pride Parade clashed with the final episode that year. The organisers organised a screening in Trafalgar Square to avoid people staying at home. Listen, the link between the gay world and Doctor Who, we've talked about. Doctor Who appeals to marginalised people, right? And you don't need to be gay, you don't need to be black, you don't need to be Muslim, you can be anything to be marginalised. Basically, it appeals to clever people who are marginalised. Why? Because the vast majority of people are stupid. Right, that's who I think that the Chris Chibnall year. Well, they didn't appeal to the normie because they just didn't relate to it at all because it was badly done. Ever since it began nearly 50 years ago, November '63, it's been a little bit of light entertainment, a little bit brainy, a little bit sexy, a little bit naughty. I agree wholeheartedly with all those things. It's also been very lucrative because while the UK audience has been struggling to reach above 5 million, the show has earned an eye-watering 1.8 billion in global sales last year. 550 million of it which were from the US. Yeah, but that was after the brand was significantly damaged, right? That was about to fall away. That was Jodie. The BBC knew how badly they felt. I know firsthand from people on the inside, the BBC knew how badly it felt, and they were freaking out. Right? Chris Chibnall basically was fired. He wanted to do it for 5 years, as far as I understand. He wanted to do it for 5 years, and his contract wasn't renewed. This makes it one of the biggest BBC's biggest exports. Yeah, ergo Rusty Davies is back. Who first came up with the idea? That's what I want to know. Who was the idea of bringing Rusty Davies back? I know Christian was saying, well, I've been throwing battles to people for over a year. Nobody wants to pick it up. Really? Because those battles were radioactive slag. Again, if a radioactive slag would be a good monster in the new series. Do you remember the fat slags? Fat slags were awesome. If you don't remember, look up Viz. Oh, wait, they did a cartoon of it, wasn't it? Or a claymation? I can't remember. That's kind of what I imagine as a radioactive slugs. Doctor is worth 3 times as much in the UK fishing industry. Not 3 times as much in the UK fishing industry. Okay. And that's before merchandise, which took a nosedive. I can't wait for it all to come back, right? It's all about the comeback. Hashtag welcome back, Doctor Who. And a healthy global exhibition of business and burgeoning immersive theatre arm. Currently packing in immersive LDN Theatre on Bond Street. No, it wasn't. It closed because nobody liked it because they put Jodie Whittaker front and centre, and it was a bit shit, right? Honestly, it was the same sort of plotting that they had on The Power of the Doctor. Didn't really make much sense, right? But yeah, look, Jodie Whittaker's anti-Viagra to sales. It makes people not want to buy something. That's why they scrubbed it the branding as fast as humanly fucking possible. Right? They got to get that out of there straight away. They got to get that branding off there. Doctor Who magazine, totally different this month. It's going to... I can't wait to see what they're doing with the comic strip. Right? I'm really, really kind of excited about that. I know the artist. And I won't ask him to divulge a secret to me, but I will invite him on the show for when the new magazine comes out. Yeah, that'd be super cool. As of next year, Doctor Who is no longer technically at the BBC because the BBC fucked it up so badly, right? That the Bad Wolf was able to take it and then get themselves bought by Sony and then make this sweet deal with Disney. Do you think there's going to be a Doctor Who hub on Disney Plus? That's my all-time fantasy. Not my all-time fantasy. My all-time fantasy involves Nicola Bryant and a cloning machine. But, enough of that for another time. Yeah, that's for Rabbi After Dark. No, they have a Doctor Who hub on Disney Plus. You have, a little box for each of the different Doctors. You have every Doctor Who on there, all the extras from the DVD and the Blu-ray, all the animations, right? Plus the ongoing new series, maybe, and an animated series too, maybe a Paul McGann adventure. There's so much shit you can put out there. Right, there's so much you can do in that universe, and I hope they do it. Imagine, like, the Star Wars hub or the Disney hub, Star Wars hub or a Marvel hub on Disney Plus, but not filled with unwatchable shit. Can you imagine? Like, that sounds like it'll be good. Sunday's episode was the last to be made in-house, with the keys of the TARDIS being handed over to the Sony-owned Bad Wolf production company. This is more significant than it sounds. Oh, yes, we know. To date, Doctor Who has been a BBC show with a global love. Davis has insisted that Bad Wolf has complete editorial control. Yes! Go fucking Dazzle-D Davis! Yes! Why? Because the BBC is not to be trusted with it, because they fuck up everything they touch. I mean, I was watching Strictly Come Dancing before the episode, and nothing reflects 2022 more than that. A bunch of, like, again, like, did you have normal men and women dancing with each other? No. And I was transfixed by this very fat woman, right? This very fat woman dancing with this other less fat woman. I was like saying, and she had to come down the stairs before, after she lost, because she was a very fat woman on a dancing show, and I didn't think she could make it down the stairs. Like, I was like, really? But, like, again, oh well, we just got to be inclusive. I mean, I'm all for being inclusive, but, like, when you get inclusive to the point of ridiculousness, you're making fun of people rather than being nice to them, being loving to them. Sony's cash, technology, and clout means Doctor Who as a global show based in the UK. Yeah, and I think that's the way it should go. You can understand the decision to temporarily reinstate Tennant. Yes, it is in a way shoring up the process, albeit one that slightly still scuppers funded. No, it doesn't, mate. No, it doesn't. It makes a pedestal for Gatwa to step onto, right? Yet Doctor Who has to be careful with this constant nostalgia, which Tennant revival feels like to agree. That it's a fixing of the mess that you spoke about in your article, right? You can't deny reality, even though you are really desperately trying to deny reality. Remember that when the show was originally acted in 1989, it was partly due to the fact that it has started to become reverential, too in love with its legacy. No, actually, its last couple of years were awesome, right? What happened was that Michael Gray looked at the 85 season and said, this is unwatchable shit, right? This is embarrassment. This is embarrassing me. This is a waste of taxpayers' money. And he wasn't wrong. I hate to say it, much like Christian didn't know what to do with Doctor Who, neither did Eric Saywood, and because he didn't know what to do with Colin Baker, I think. And so he just filled it with violence, right? And Perry in not very many clothes, which I'm all for, right? That worked for. But I do hear what, and in the same way here, like, they filled it with, like, this weird wokeness, which I know you want to deny. Oh, what does woke mean anyway? Which is why I gotta fucking define it every time I open my bloody mouth and say the word, because you got this weird pretense it doesn't exist. Yes, it does, right? Yes, it does. It wasn't being too self-referential. It was in 85 when it didn't know what to do, especially Attack of the Cyberman, right? But the time you got to, like, Ghostlight and Survivor, they were awesome, right? And that only happened because they only went because Michael Gray left and nobody remembered to cancel it for a couple of years, and I think they really turned the ship round. Of course, you wonder if the show has actually run its course, or at least needs to go on a hiatus as it did in '89. It would do if Russell T Davies was here, and if he didn't have the smart decision to bring back David Tennant. Ultimately, I would say not. Doctor Who has always been a show that has proved adept at, excuse the pun, regeneration. Russell T Davies just needs to exercise the storytelling skills, and there is no reason why we can't have a show run for another 50 years. I agree completely, and I'm excited to see what that 50 years will bring. I'm excited to see what tomorrow will bring, right? We had all that stuff drop yesterday. We're living in good times, baby. We're living in good times. It's a bit shocking after living in terrible times for so long. I do feel kind of like, the Jews who just liberated from concentration camps. So, like, we didn't know quite what to do. That's where we are as fandom. Maybe not to that kind of extent. I don't want to tell you. It depends how much you want to say how bad the Jodie Whittaker era was, which I thought was pretty darn bad myself. But you know, what can you do? So my name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.